Hey everybody, how's it going? It's Jamie, the crafty DIY guy. Welcome to my channel. In today's video, we are going to be doing some spring fling DIYs, and we're going to literally be focusing on florals and farmhouse and just kind of fun DIY projects that will get you inspired for spring. I don't know about you guys, but where I live, the pollen is almost gone. And now all the beautiful flowers and plants are starting to bloom. Pretty soon it's going to be hot as blazes outside, but for right now, it is a good time of the year. Hey, if you are one of my long-term subscribers, thank you guys so much for being here. If you are a short-term subscriber or a newer subscriber, then of course, thank you also for being here. I truly appreciate it. If YouTube happened to recommend this video to you, maybe you'll stick around and become a subscriber to my channel. That would be wonderful. And I'd love to get to know you guys and comment and chit chat and hang out with all of you guys. So please feel free to leave me comments and definitely subscribe to my channel. All right, let's get into the video. And for my first DIY, we're actually going to be doing a Kirklands dupe. I'm going to take this Flowers and Gardens pail that I picked up from Dollar Tree, some floral foam, and these 3 different sized candlesticks. Now, the arrangement that I saw at Kirklands actually had a kind of a galvanized metal bucket, and I thought that that would be really cool. These candlesticks, I think, are going to be a little bit short, but we'll see. I have that foam cutter for cutting up those foam blocks into smaller pieces. You can see here when I put the candlesticks in, they just kind of sit a little low. So I'm going to first go ahead and cut up my flowers and just kind of play around with it. I didn't want my flowers to be too short. I want it to kind of look like a pail of flowers that are kind of billowing over, if you will. And I have all of these great flower stems from Dollar Tree, and I'm using my Lineman Pliers here just to cut everything up. They really, really pound through those flowers, and I love how quickly they cut everything down. You can cut big, thick stalks, or you can cut smaller stalks, and it works out really, really well. And it actually doesn't take a whole lot of hand strength, at least not for the DeWalt set that I have. So after I cut up all of these flowers, I realized, one, I had way too many flowers, but also I had some beautiful assortments here. So I'm going to go ahead and place a wood disc in the bottom of my pail, just kind of like this, and then I'm going to add some hot glue onto the bottom of those candlesticks and start placing my floral foam all around the candlesticks so I can build the arrangement. As I'm kind of building the arrangement, I'm purposely kind of keeping everything low. I almost want it to look like a bucket of flowers that you might have been carrying when you're out walking around in a field and just kind of picking up wildflowers along the way. I'm purposely also keeping them somewhat lower profile because I do want them to be able to not cover up those candlesticks that we're putting in there. And don't worry, we're not going to be putting flame candlesticks or real candles in there. We're going to be using battery operated. So what's great about this is that if you had maybe more of those wood discs like I originally put in there, you could certainly make this taller. If you found a different kind of candle holder, you could also use that too. Now I'm just going to go ahead and add my battery operated candle holders candles that I picked up from Dollar Tree as well. And this is ready to go. I love the way this looks on the coffee table. It definitely is a bright punch of color for springtime, and it's also safe for the family. You don't have to worry about burning any plastic or anything like that. Now for this next DIY, I know you were hoping that I was making myself a spring Easter bonnet, but I'm really not. Well, because one, Easter is over, but I'm also making something for my front door. So what I'm going to do is take the leftover flowers that I had from the previous project, one of those straw hats. I'm going to take this scarf. It's an infinity scarf that I picked up at Dollar Tree, so I will be cutting this. And I'm also using a piece of white foam core that I'm going to cut down. So the first thing I'm going to do is take a pencil and just trace around the hat. I'm going to do this kind of loosely and just make sure that I have at least a circle to work off of. And then I'm going to literally just start cutting it out with a pair of scissors. Foam core is actually pretty easy to cut with, not a hard project at all. If you did have a straight edge or a razor blade or something like that, you could certainly use that as well. Scissors just kind of powered through this fine. And I did make this probably about 1/2 of an inch smaller than the actual circle that I cut out because I didn't want any of the white foam core to show on the outside of the hat because I am making this as a door wreath. Once that was all cut out, it was time to go ahead and just measure up, make sure that it was the right size, and I think this is going to be perfect. I am going to make one side of it kind of closer to the edge, and that's where it's going to be hanging. For this beautiful little pink ribbon, I'm actually going to take that out, and I'm going to be replacing it with that infinity scarf that I picked up from Dollar Tree. I'm also going to go ahead and first glue this foam core circle down to the bottom of that hat. That way it has a flat surface to hang up against the door. It will help with wind, and if you wanted to use something stronger than hot glue, by all means, go for it. My porch is covered, so this will be perfectly fine for me, and I'm using an all-purpose hot glue, and it seems to hold up really, really well from Surebonder. Now, the next thing I'm going to do is take this infinity scarf that I picked up at Dollar Tree. Because this is an infinity scarf, you will have to go ahead and cut this, so not a big deal. You could actually probably just wrap this around a couple times if you wanted to try it that way, and maybe do some sort of decorative knot or something in it. That way you would have this scarf to be able to wear afterwards. For me, I'm really not going to be wearing the scarf, so I'm going to go ahead and just cut this with my extremely dull scissors, once again, that I desperately need to get sharpened. I know all the tips and tricks. You guys have been great giving me them. I just need to do it now. And then I'm just going to tie a very simple knot onto the pad. That way the bow now, or the scarf, stays in place. And then I am going to go ahead and add a little bit of hot glue from Surebonder kind of down in between the kind of what is that, like a rattan, whatever the hat is made out of, and some hot glue and that ribbon, just to make sure that it's good and solid and will stay in place. I'm using hot glue for this for the sake of just drying time, and also for me, because my porch is covered and where this is going to be hanging on the front door, the hot glue never causes me any issues. Obviously, if you live in a hotter climate, that might be an issue, and you may want to switch it up to a different type of glue, or maybe even use pins. So now it's time to just start decorating my hat. I am literally just taking some of those leftover floral stems and just working them into the hat scarf itself, and just kind of decorating the brim of the hat, or I guess that's not the brim of the hat. I'm decorating that part there where you see me sticking that blue flower. And I'm just going to work my way around the hat until it is fully decorated, and I have a beautiful wreath like this for the front door. I absolutely love this. It is super fun and very spring festive. My next project is going to be a pretty easy one. I'm going to take one of these Dollar Tree glass vases and this package of floral stencils that I picked up in Crafter Square. I thought that these were super, super cute, and I really loved the way they looked, and I thought that they would make a very cool impact on this vase. I was going to originally do like maybe even white or a navy or something like that, but I think instead I'm going to be using a silver glass paint that I picked up. Now, as you will see, this doesn't work all the way around, but it comes pretty darn close. So go ahead and just use some masking tape, tape it into place, and then you can use, after your stencil has dried, you can go ahead and just kind of fill in the holes that you need to, or you can leave it blank. I actually left mine blank. So once you kind of wrap that around, you will notice that some of those stencils do not lay flat. Some of those florals have some kind of pointy pieces, like this one here that's sticking up. And you'll want to be really careful when you are stenciling that. And I'm using a larger stencil brush that you'll be seeing shortly here. So I've got my silver glass paint there that I'm just kind of working with. And I did pick this up at A-Maker Studio. And you can buy it online at amakerstudio.com. And I do have some links below, some affiliate links for A-Maker Studio. And all I'm doing is just kind of dabbing on this glass paint directly onto that stencil. I'm going very light with it and kind of working my way around. When my hand gets out of the way, you'll kind of see how beautiful this really does look, and it starts to almost look like the glass is etched. So in those areas where those floral pieces were kind of sticking up, kind of like this guy here at the top, that one I'm just being very direct with the stain. I'm kind of going at the top, and then I'm going to work my way just up and down, versus that larger one that you see me working on right now. I'm kind of being a little more liberal with the back and forth. The masking tape definitely helps. It helps keep everything nice and solid. And then once I've kind of filled in all the blanks and all the kind of parts of the stencil, I will go ahead and take my heat gun and just kind of help speed up that drying process. I didn't let it get all the way dry, and then I did go ahead and remove the stencil, and this is what it looked like. I loved the way this looked. I thought it was super cute. I thought it kind of looked like etched glass, and really you are done. Again, if you wanted to fill in that one piece, you could, but simple, add some florals to it, and you've got a gorgeous vase that looks like it is etched glass. And for my last project, we're going to take 3 of these arched windows that you can pick up at Dollar Tree. It's funny, when I grabbed these, I actually thought that they were wood, but they're not. They're plastic. And I also grabbed some hinges, by the way. I almost forgot about those. So these are plastic, and the kind of thing on the front there, the sign on the front, are actually cardboard. So they do pop off really easily. They do leave a good amount of glue residue behind though. So I simply just took my heat gun, I kind of warmed up the glue, and then I was able to just kind of scrape it off with my screwdriver. It worked out really, really well. Obviously go very slow with this, that way you don't stab yourself in the hand or in the fingers. We don't want anything like that. Then after everything had been de-glued, I did take some sandpaper and just kind of rough everything up a little bit. And then I took it outside and I spray painted it with a dark silvery gray color. And so through the magic of YouTube, now you see that they are sprayed gray. And then I also did take a little tiny bit of antique gold and just kind of sprayed loosely over the top of it, just to give it kind of a different kind of a silhouette. And then for the actual hardware themselves, those hinges, because this is plastic, you can screw those hinges into the plastic and they will hold perfectly fine. I did go ahead and get a really small drill bit that kept slipping in my drill, and I drilled some pilot holes. I just kind of lined up the hinges where I wanted to do that and then just added those holes. You could certainly even just hot glue those hinges if you wanted to, but I think for mine, I'm going to be moving it around quite a bit. So I wanted something a little more sturdy. And now I'm just literally putting them side by side, adding or aligning the hinges, using my Sharpie that I also grabbed at Dollar Tree to kind of make where I need to make more holes, and then I'm going to drill more holes. You want to make sure that you're putting your hinges the right way. And, because this is kind of going to be an accordion door kind of a style, you'll want to zigzag your hinges or make sure that when you do put them together, you've got this option. Now I'm going to take a little bit of white paint, white chalk paint, and I'm just going to kind of dry brush a little bit. I wanted a little bit more texture on this, and I wanted to kind of tone down maybe a little bit of that gold that was in there, and then kind of soften some of that dark gray. I used like a steel gray color from Rust-Oleum, and I love that color. It's actually my favorite, but I thought that it was maybe a little aggressive for this one. I think that these would be beautiful if they were all spray painted black or even spray painted white. I could think that they would be gorgeous either way. I almost actually spray painted my navy because you guys know I love navy, but I decided to give you a little bit of a navy break this time. So now they're all done. They are gorgeous. I love the way this looks. You could certainly add those signs back to the front. I even thought about for a minute there of adding some of those Dollar Tree wood cutouts like the flowers and kind of keeping with the flower theme, but I just wanted something a little more simple. Again, I think this is super fun. You could definitely put some family photos behind this. You could even take some of the Dollar Tree clear cutting mats and create a screen with them. I think there's so much possibilities, or you could keep them really simple like this.